Chapter 1. The Wolf in the Storm. The storm hit faster than the forecast promised. One moment the sky was only bruised with dusk, heavy but tolerable. The next, the mountains swallowed the sun whole and spat out sheets of icy rain that cut sideways across the forest road. My wipers squealed helplessly. My breath fogged against the windshield. The world blurred into darkness and water and the ghostly white line I was trying to follow. I shouldn't have taken the mountain pass, but the call from my sister, her voice trembling, "I need you," had sent me driving long before I remembered how easily avalanches and flash floods claimed these roads. A crack of lightning split the sky. For a heartbeat, I saw the towering pines, dripping and black. The next heartbeat, everything vanished into the storm's roar. "Come on," I whispered to my tiny car. "Just a little farther." Thunder answered me, low and violent. Then, something leapt into the road, a massive shape, dark, fast. My headlights caught the glint of eyes, gold, unnatural, burning, and I jerked the wheel with a strangled cry. The world tipped sideways, tires skidded, metal screamed. The guardrail rushed toward me, too close, too fast. I braced. Impact. A shuddering jolt. Silence except for the rain. I sat stunned, my fingers locked around the wheel, my heart racing against my ribs like it was trying to break free. The car had scraped the rail, not hurtled over it. I was alive. Barely. "What the hell was that?" I gasped. "A deer? A bear?" No. Nothing moved like that. Those eyes. I could still feel them staring through me. Lightning flashed again. And there, in the pool of my headlights, I saw him. Not an animal. A man. He was collapsed on the asphalt, rain beating down on his broad shoulders. He was shirtless, his skin slick with water and streaked with something darker. Blood? Shadows? Both? For a moment, I couldn't breathe. He shouldn't have been alive after throwing himself in front of a moving car. But his chest rose, shallow and strained. His hand flexed against the wet pavement, fingers tipped with nails that looked— no, that was impossible. Too sharp. I fumbled out of the car. The cold was vicious, slicing straight through my jacket. Water soaked my jeans instantly as I knelt beside him. "Hey, hey, can you hear me?" His head turned slightly toward my voice. Even half-conscious, he radiated something— danger, power, heat in the freezing rain. His hair, black and wild, clung to his forehead. A ragged gash cut across his ribcage, and there were long marks along his arms, the kind no human weapon made. "God," I whispered. "What happened to you?" His lips moved, barely a sound. "Run." I swallowed hard. "I'm not leaving you here." His eyes snapped open. Golden. Glowing. Not human. For a split second, fear locked my bones. The storm faded. The thunder muted. All I could see was the strange feral fire in his gaze. And yet, I wasn't afraid. Not entirely. There was something else beneath the terror. Something magnetic. Something that tugged at the center of my chest as if an invisible thread had caught and pulled tight. He stared at me like he knew me, like he'd been searching for me. Then his eyes fluttered, and he collapsed fully again. "Okay," I breathed, forcing myself into motion. "You're coming with me." It took everything I had to haul his weight. He was solid muscle, impossibly warm even in the storm, toward my car. I managed to drag him into the back seat, my arms trembling. The moment I shut the door, a howl cut through the storm. Not a coyote, not a wolf I'd ever heard before. This sound was deeper, angrier, hunting. My blood ran cold. I scrambled into the driver's seat, slammed the locks down, and tried to steady my shaking hands enough to start the engine. "Come on, come on." The engine sputtered, coughed, died. "No, no, no, please." Another howl rose, Closer this time. My heart stopped. I looked into the rearview mirror. The man lay limp across the back seat, rainwater dripping from his jaw, blood streaked across his torso. But even unconscious, he looked like something carved from ancient stone. Powerful, beautiful, otherworldly. "You better not die," I whispered, panic tightening my throat. "I didn't drag you in here just for you to—" His eyes snapped open again, bright gold, burning, and locked onto mine through the mirror. "Stay quiet," he rasped. I froze. "What?" "Don't move," he growled. Then, he changed. Not fully. Not like in movies, but his features sharpened, his muscles tensed, his canines lengthened just slightly, glinting in the dim light. A wolf. He looked like a wolf wearing a man's shape. My breath hitched. Before I could speak, before I could even process what I was seeing, something slammed into the side of the car. I screamed. The car rocked violently, metal groaning. Another blow. Harder. The silhouette outside was hulking, feral. A shadow with eyes like dying embers. The man behind me growled, low, lethal, vibrating through the car. The hairs on my arms rose. He pushed himself upright, wincing with pain. "Stay down," he ordered. What is that?" "Not your concern." He shoved his hand against the window. The glass trembled under the force of whatever clawed at it from the other side. "Close your eyes," he said. "What? Why? Do it." His voice left no room for argument. I squeezed my eyes shut. The storm seemed to inhale. Then, a crash. A snarl. The metal of my car screeched as if something massive vaulted over it. Wind sucked through the air, spinning violently. Another roar, this one deeper. His. I opened my eyes a fraction. He was no longer in the back seat. The door was wide open, rain lashing inside. Outside, two shadows collided. One hulking and monstrous, the other a streak of dark fury. Lightning flashed. For a split second I saw him. Not a man. Not fully. His form blurred, shifting, bones twisting under moonlit rain, a creature of both worlds. Teeth bared, eyes blazing. The two beasts crashed into the trees. The forest swallowed them. And then there was only the storm again. I sat frozen, drenched, breathless. What did I just see? What was he? But even with terror pulsing through my veins, my first instinct was clear and inexplicable. Go after him. Chapter 2. The Man in the Trees. The storm quieted as suddenly as it had come, as if the sky itself was holding its breath. For a long moment I sat in the driver's seat, knuckles white around the steering wheel, staring into the darkness of the forest where the two monstrous shapes had vanished. My pulse hadn't slowed, my breath hadn't steadied. Every instinct I'd ever trusted screamed at me to start the car, if it would start, and get as far from this mountain as possible. But another instinct, deep and impossible to ignore, whispered something else. Go after him. The idea was madness. He wasn't human, not entirely. I'd seen bones shift beneath skin, seen a shape too large to be man or wolf. I'd heard that feral growl vibrating through my bones. He had told me to run. He had told me to stay down. And I was about to do the one thing he didn't ask. Follow him into the woods. I grabbed my flashlight, miraculously not cracked, and pushed open the door. Cold air slapped me. The rain had thinned into a mist, swirling around me like breath from some unseen beast. Each step felt fragile, the soaked earth sucking at my boots. The forest loomed, towering trunks dripping, branches creaking in the wind. "Hello?" I called softly. It was stupid, dangerous, but the silence felt wrong, thick, watchful. "Are you—" I didn't even know what I was asking. "Alive? Human? A monster?" My voice cracked. I'm coming in." The beam of the flashlight cut a narrow path through the trees. I followed it, deeper, farther from the safety of the road. My heart hammered with every rustle, every shift of shadows. Something moved. I froze, breath locking in my throat. A low growl rolled through the trees. Closer now, but different. Less feral, more familiar. I turned slowly. He emerged from behind a fallen pine, half hidden by branches, as if the forest itself had been sheltering him. The man I'd pulled into my car only minutes ago. He was shirtless still, rain-soaked and mud-splattered, blood streaking one side of his torso. His eyes, still golden, still glowing faintly, watched me with a mix of exhaustion, irritation, and something that looked almost like disbelief. "You shouldn't be here," he said, voice rough enough to scrape gravel. My throat tightened. "I thought you might be hurt." His jaw flexed, as if the statement annoyed him for reasons I couldn't understand. He stepped closer, shadows peeling off him like steam. "Do you have any idea what you walked toward?" he asked. "Something that was attacking you." His gaze sharpened. "And you followed anyway?" "I'm not heartless." He exhaled like that answer was more dangerous than any monster. "You should be afraid of me," he said quietly. I swallowed. "You saved me." "You don't know what you saw." "Yes, I do." My voice trembled, but I didn't look away. "You changed. Right in front of me." Lightning flared far above the clouds, but the thunder never came. Only a deep silence stretched between us. Then he stepped closer. Too close. Close enough that the heat radiating from him brushed my skin like a forbidden promise. He smelled like pine and storm and something warm beneath it. Something that made my pulse catch. He studied me like I was the unpredictable one. "You're shaking," he murmured. "I'm cold." I lied. His eyes flicked to my soaked clothes, the mud smeared up to my knees. Without warning, he shrugged off the torn remains of what used to be his coat. Dark leather, shredded along one side, and draped it over my shoulders. I stiffened. "I don't need—" "You do." His tone softened, but only slightly. "It's freezing." "Are you hurt?" I asked. "I saw blood." He hesitated. Not long, but long enough that I knew he was calculating how much truth to give me. "It's nothing," he said finally. "I heal fast." Too fast, judging by how the gash on his ribcage was already scabbing over. Not normal. I touched his arm lightly. "Let me help." His muscles tensed under my fingers. He stared at my hand. Small, trembling, human, against his skin. Something flickered across his expression. Hunger. Pain. Recognition. He stepped back abruptly, breaking the contact. "You need to leave this forest," he said. "Now." "Not without you." He blinked, as if the words struck deeper than they should. "Why would you care what happens to me?" "I almost killed you with my car," I said. "I'm not letting the woods finish the job." A shadow passed through his eyes. Not fear. Something darker. Older. "You didn't almost kill me," he murmured. "And the woods aren't what you should fear." "Then tell me what I saw." "I can't." "Won't." His jaw clenched. "Both." I stepped closer. "I saw you fight that thing. Whatever it was, I saw you change." His voice dropped to a whisper. "You should forget what you saw." "I don't think I can." His gaze held mine for a long moment, until something rustled behind us. His head snapped toward the sound, eyes flashing gold again. The air shifted. The forest held its breath. He moved before I could blink, grabbing my wrist and pulling me behind him. His body went rigid, every muscle coiled. "Stay behind me," he ordered. I didn't argue. A shadow crept between the trees, low, hulking, dragging something heavy through the wet leaves. My skin prickled. The growl that followed was guttural, angry, wounded. The other creature, the one he'd been fighting. He cursed under his breath, low and vicious. I should have finished it. Finished it? What is it? Not now. The creature lumbered closer. I could see it now. Massive shoulders, matted fur, eyes a deep, poisonous red. Its breath steamed in the cold air. It didn't look like any wolf I'd ever seen. The man in front of me inhaled, and something about the air around him changed, thickened, heated. His fingers curled, nails lengthening slightly, the faintest tremor running through him as if he were holding something back. "Get to your car," he said, voice shaking barely. "Don't stop. Don't look back." "What about you?" "Go." "No. I'm not leaving you to fight that alone." He turned his head sharply, and for the first time I saw fear in his eyes. Not for himself. For me. "You don't understand," he said. "If I shift again, I might not—" He broke off, teeth gritting. "Go. Shift." The word echoed in my skull. He shoved me backward just as the creature lunged. I stumbled but caught myself against a tree. He met the beast mid-air. It happened fast. Too fast for human eyes. A blur of movement. A clash of bodies. Snarls that made the earth vibrate. His body contorted again, muscles bulging, spine arching unnaturally as he forced the shift halfway. Enough to gain strength, enough to tear into the thing, not enough to lose himself. Every strike was brutal. Every breath forced. This wasn't a dominant predator fighting prey. This was survival. This was fury. This was a man caught between forms, tearing himself apart to protect someone he barely knew. And that someone was me. The creature finally collapsed with a trembling whine, blood darkening the leaves beneath it. Silence followed. Long, fragile. He stood over the beast, chest heaving, shoulders shaking. The half-shifted form receded slowly, painfully, until he looked human again. Barely. He swayed. I ran to him. "Wait, don't—" He tried to warn, but his knees buckled. I caught him, or tried to. He collapsed against me, heavy and burning with fever. "You shouldn't," he whispered, barely conscious. "Be close to me, it's not safe." "I don't care." His breath hitched, a soft, broken sound. For a long moment he let his forehead rest against my shoulder. His hand curled weakly into the sleeve of the coat he'd given me, as if grounding himself there, as if confirming I hadn't run. Finally, he whispered, voice a raw scrape. "My name is Ronan." It felt like an admission of something far greater than a name. "And you are—" "Lena," I breathed. His eyes flickered open, still glowing faintly, unbearably beautiful. "Lena," he repeated like a promise or a warning. "I'm sorry you found me." I tightened my grip around him. "I'm not." Chapter 3: Shadows in His Blood. Ronan was heavier than he looked, dense with muscle and fevered heat, as I guided him through the dripping trees. The storm had thinned into a silver mist. Everything smelled like wet pine and iron, and something else clinging to him. Something wild, something ancient. His arm hung over my shoulders, his breath rough against my ear. "Lean on me," I whispered. "You shouldn't—" His voice was slurred, thick with pain. "I told you, I'm dangerous like this." "You just saved my life. Twice." I tightened my grip. "You can be dangerous later." A hoarse, humorless sound escaped him, half laugh, half groan. "You don't understand." "Then explain it." "I can't. Always that wall. Always that secret." We broke through the tree line. My car sat in the middle of the road, its passenger door hanging open like the forest had coughed the chaos back onto the asphalt. I eased him toward the back seat again. He resisted. "No. Front." His jaw clenched. "Need to watch the road." "You can barely stand—" I said front. It wasn't a command so much as instinct, alpha instinct, something bone deep that had nothing to do with ego and everything to do with protection. I opened the front passenger door. He collapsed into the seat, breathing hard. Rainwater slid down his neck, dripping into the hollow of his throat. His pupils were blown wide, golden edges flickering like embers. His hands shook, the veins in his arms dark and raised, pulsing with something not entirely human. Ronan, what's happening to you? His gaze flicked to me, then away, like he was afraid his answer might destroy the rest of my night, my sanity, maybe more. The shift, he said finally. It takes a toll when I force it. You didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. I made the wrong one. To protect me. His jaw tightened. You shouldn't matter to me. My breath caught. That's rude. I managed, even though something in my chest had cracked open. He swore under his breath. The muscles in his neck strained as another tremor rolled through him. I reached for his arm. Don't, he warned, too late. My hand closed around his forearm. His skin was hot, too hot, and beneath it something rippled, a shiver of movement, like energy, like a beast rolling under the surface. His eyes shot to mine, wild, desperate, pained. Lena. My name was a raw growl. Let go. I did. Immediately. But not out of fear, out of the sudden, overwhelming realization that he was fighting something inside himself. Something that wanted out. Something that wanted. Me? He pressed a hand to his face, dragging in a harsh breath. You shouldn't touch me when I'm like this. It makes everything worse. Worse how? He didn't answer. Of course he didn't. I climbed into the driver's seat, started the engine. Miraculously it worked, and pulled the car back toward the road. The headlights carved a path. Through the mist. Ronan slumped against the window, jaw clenched so tightly I could see the muscle jump. His voice, when it came, was barely audible over the hum of the engine. That creature tonight. It wasn't hunting me. I swallowed. It came after me. No. His head turned, slow and heavy, golden eyes locking onto mine. It came after you because of me. Cold slid down my spine. Why? You crossed its territory, he said. Because of me. That doesn't make sense. It will, he murmured. Soon. Try me. A bitter smile curled on his lips. You really don't let things go, do you? Ronan, tell me. He exhaled, a broken sound. What I am. What I carry. It draws things to me. Things that want my blood. Things that want to challenge me. And they attack anyone near you. His silence confirmed it. My fingers tightened around the wheel. So I was... collateral damage? No. His voice sharpened. You were the problem. I flinched. He swore softly. That came out wrong. Try again. He leaned his head back, eyes closing. My kind can pick up on... bonds. Connections. What kind of connections? Faded ones. My pulse stuttered. He continued, voice strained but steady. When I first saw you, on that road, bleeding and furious and stupidly brave, his throat worked. I knew. Knew what? He opened his eyes again. They glowed faintly in the dark. That you're mine. The world went silent. My heartbeat thundered. What does that even mean? I whispered. It means, he said, voice low and rough, that the moment I saw you, the bond snapped into place. It doesn't care if we're strangers. It doesn't care if it ruins lives. And tonight, it nearly did. Ronan. He looked away, jaw rigid. You were supposed to keep driving. You weren't supposed to touch me. You definitely weren't supposed to follow me into the woods. Why? Because of your bond? He gave a humorless laugh. Because every instinct I have is to protect you, whether you want me to or not. I swallowed hard. What if I don't want protection? His gaze sliced back to me, sharp, hungry, agonized. Then I am already doomed. A silence wrapped around us, heavy, electric. Where do you live? I asked softly. Cabin. Half a mile up the ridge. I'm taking you there. No. His fingers curled around the dashboard. Too dangerous. I don't care. You should. But I don't. He stared at me for a long moment, like he was memorizing something or mourning something. Then he said quietly, "Turn left at the next fork." The cabin was dark, tucked into a grove of pines like it didn't want to be found. Moss covered the stones. A single lantern flickered on the porch, though I didn't remember seeing it lit. I parked. Ronan reached for the door handle and faltered, his breath caught. A sharp, pained sound. I rushed to his side. "Ronan, don't touch me," he rasped. "Not until I get control again." "Does it hurt?" I whispered. His laugh was hollow. "Everything hurts." He stumbled out of the car. I stayed close but didn't touch him, not with how tightly he held himself, not with the way his shoulders trembled like he was barely holding shape. He made it 2 steps before sinking to one knee. My resolve broke. I dropped beside him, hands on his shoulders despite his warning. His eyes flew open, burning gold, pupils razor thin. "Lena," he growled. "Let go." "No." He grabbed my wrist, not to push me away, but to anchor himself. His grip was strong but shaking, the tension in his arm like a wire pulled too tight. His forehead lowered until it pressed against mine. Heat rolled off him. His breath shook. His fingers curled around me like I was the only thing keeping him from unraveling. "You don't know what you're doing," he whispered. "Then tell me. If you stay," his voice cracked, "I won't be able to let you go." "Good." He inhaled sharply, almost painfully. "Lena." My name sounded like a vow, or a breaking point. His control snapped for half a second. His teeth lengthened, his breath turned to a rumble, his body shuddering between forms. Then, slowly, agonizingly, he forced it down. Forced himself back. Forced his humanity to the surface. When he finally opened his eyes again, the gold had dimmed. Not gone, but calmer. Contained. "Inside," he whispered, "before something else finds us." I helped him up. He didn't protest this time, but as we crossed the threshold of his cabin, his hand slipped into mine, and he didn't let go. Chapter 4. The Cabin and the Beast. Ronan's cabin felt like stepping into another world, one built from wood, shadow, and solitude. The door closed behind us with a soft thud, shutting out the storm, the forest, the creature's corpse, the entire night that had spiraled out of reality. The air inside was warm, heavy with the scent of burning cedar and something distinctly his: pine, smoke, heat. His fingers were still threaded through mine. He didn't seem to realize it. Or maybe he did, and letting go would cost him more strength than he had left. His steps were unsteady as he moved further inside. The room was dimly lit by a single lamp on a wooden table. Antlers hung above the fireplace. Bookshelves lined one wall, filled not with novels but with old, leather-bound volumes, their spines written in languages I didn't recognize. A hunter's den, a scholar's refuge, a wolf's cage. Ronan stumbled again, catching himself against the wall. I tightened my grip on his hand. "Sit down, please." For a moment, stubborn pride flickered across his features. Then the exhaustion won. He sank into a chair by the fireplace, head tipped back, breath shaking. Up close, he looked worse. Paler, but flushed with fever. His muscles trembled. His hands gripped the armrests like he was barely containing something inside him. I crouched in front of him. "Ronan, what do you need?" His eyes slid open, half shifted, gold bleeding into the brown. His voice was barely human when he answered. "Distance?" I ignored that. "Let me help." "You can't." He swallowed hard, jaw clenching. "I need time. I need control." I brushed wet hair from his forehead. His entire body shuddered. Lena, he warned, voice strained so tight it nearly snapped. Don't touch me. And if I don't listen? His eyes opened fully, glowing, fierce, terrified. You don't understand, he whispered. The bond is new, raw. You're too close. I can feel every breath you take, every heartbeat. It's pulling at me. It's ripping through my control. Then tell me what it is, I said softly. What bond? What does it mean? He flinched like the truth physically hurt him. It means you're my mate. The word hung between us, ancient, forbidden, binding. My breath caught. Is that permanent? For wolves? He huffed a painful breath. It's eternal. My chest tightened. And for humans? He looked at me with a grief so deep it hollowed him out. For humans, it's dangerous. Deadly sometimes. I felt the floor shift beneath me. Deadly? I whispered. I wasn't supposed to cross paths with you, he said. Not like this. Not when I'm cursed. The word burned through the air. Cursed. Not just a shifter. Something more. Something worse. What curse? I asked. He squeezed his eyes shut. The kind that makes the beast stronger. The kind that makes the pull toward a mate unbearable. The kind that kills the ones we're bound to protect. Fear trembled beneath his voice. Not for himself. For me. Ronan, look at me. He didn't. I touched his cheek gently. He did. Slowly. Reluctantly. And when his gaze met mine, something in him broke. You should run from me, he whispered. You should hate me for what I'm doing to you. But I don't. His chest rose sharply as if my words struck something buried deep inside him. He tried to turn away. I didn't let him. Ronan, I said softly, I followed you into a forest full of monsters. I dragged you into my car. I took you home. I'm not leaving. You should. But I won't. His hands tightened on the armrests, the wood splintered under the pressure. He leaned forward, his face inches from mine, breath hot against my lips. You don't understand what I am when I lose control. Show me. Lena. Show me, I repeated. I need to understand what you're fighting. He shook his head, trembling. If I shift right now, even partially, I won't be able to stop. Not with you this close. Let me worry about that. It's not you I'm worried about. His voice dropped to a ragged whisper. It's what I'll do for you. Before I could ask what that meant, another tremor ripped through him, violent this time. He clutched his sides, groaning, forehead nearly touching mine. The shift was coming again. His skin rippled, bones strained. His breath turned into a low, rumbling growl. I grabbed his shoulders. Ronan, get back, he forced out. Now. No. His head snapped up, pupils thin slits of gold. Lena, move. A harsh crack echoed as his spine arched, his jaw clenched, teeth lengthening. His fingers twisted around mine, not hurting, but anchoring, holding on like I was the last thread tethering him to humanity. I can't, he gasped for air. I can't hold it. You're not alone, I whispered. I'm right here. A sound escaped him, half snarl, half plea. His forehead dropped to my shoulder. His breath burned against my skin. His body shook violently, every muscle pulled taut. And then, slowly, agonizingly, the tremors eased. The shift receded. His breathing steadied, though still ragged. His fingers loosened around mine but didn't let go. He slumped back in the chair, eyes closed, chest heaving. I rose slowly, hands still on his arms. You fought it, I whispered. You controlled it. For now, he said hoarsely, because of you. My heart stuttered. Ronan, I hesitated. Do you want me to leave? His eyes opened. The answer was already there. No, he breathed. I want you to stay. I need you to stay. Then I'm not going anywhere. Something unreadable crossed his face. Relief, longing, fear. A storm of emotion he never let anyone see. Maybe no one had ever stayed long enough to witness it. He lifted a shaking hand, brushing a strand of wet hair behind my ear. His fingers lingered at the curve of my jaw. "You're going to be the death of me," he murmured softly. His touch was warm, tender, dangerous. "Or," I said, "I might be the one who saves you." The corner of his mouth lifted, barely. "You already did." The moment stretched, slow, breathless, charged. Then, a sharp knock shattered the quiet. I jumped. Ronan's expression changed instantly, feral, alert, deadly. He rose from the chair with surprising steadiness, stepping in front of me, shielding me with his body. His voice dropped to a cold, lethal growl. "Stay behind me, Lena." The knocking came again, harder this time. Whoever was outside the cabin wasn't human. I could hear it in the second knock. A low, rumbling snarl underneath the sound. Chapter 5. The Alpha's Warning. The knock came again, heavy, deliberate, resonant enough to tremble the air in my lungs. Ronan's entire body shifted in front of me, muscles coiling, shoulders widening, posture lowering into something predatory. Not human, not fully wolf. Something between, something lethal. His hand reached back, finding mine without looking, anchoring me behind him. "Don't speak," he murmured. "Don't move. Don't breathe unless I tell you." I nodded, barely daring the air. The knock wasn't a request anymore, it was a threat. A low snarl rolled through the wooden door, vibrating through the cabin walls. Ronan's answering growl was deeper, pure alpha warning, primal enough to send a chill racing down my spine. "Ronan," I whispered. "Who?" He cut me off with a sharp shake of his head. The door hinges quivered, then a voice, rough, cold, too calm. "Open up, brother." Brother. My stomach dropped. Ronan stiffened. In the dim cabin light, the gold in his eyes flared, not with fear. He didn't fear anything, but with fury. "Not tonight," he growled. A pause. Then a dark, amused click of someone's tongue. "You lost control in my territory. You don't get to say no." Ronan stepped closer to the door, placing his body like a barricade. "Leave." I smelled the shift from 3 miles out. The voice outside continued. Half shifts, forced shifts. A slow inhale. And human. My heart seized. Ronan growled, low and vicious. "Back. Off." Another laugh, softer this time. "So, it's true." Silence fell, thick and dangerous. "You found your mate." Ronan didn't respond, which said everything. The presence outside the door shifted, like something massive changing its stance, claws dragging across wood. "You're cursed, Ronan," the voice said, quieter now. "You were supposed to keep your distance from humans." "I didn't choose this." "No one chooses the bond." Another pause. "But the rest? That's on you." Ronan's jaw flexed, shoulders rigid. I could feel the tension rolling off him, thick enough to choke on. The man outside continued, voice dripping with warning. "Let me see her." Ronan's growl ripped through the cabin, louder, sharper, more savage than any sound I had ever heard from him. "No." It wasn't a request. I said, "No." The air turned electric. The cabin walls felt too thin, too fragile to hold the pressure between two creatures who were clearly used to dominance and who clearly weren't equals. The voice outside softened, but in a way that felt far more dangerous. "You're already losing the curse's fight. You can smell it, can't you? In your blood. In your bones." A beat. "She makes it worse." Ronan's breath hitched. Barely, but I felt it. Worse. Not better. I didn't understand. But the fear creeping through me was no longer just for myself. The voice continued, relentless. "And when the curse takes over? What happens to her then? Ronan erupted. He lunged for the door, claws, actual claws, slashing into the wood. The impact shook the cabin. Splinters flew. "Enough!" he roared. My breath stalled. The thing outside went silent. Then, "You're proving my point," the voice said softly. "You can't keep her safe when you can't even keep yourself contained." Ronan pressed his forehead to the door, breathing like every inhale burned. "Leave," he whispered, voice breaking beneath the command. "While I'm still asking." A long, chilling exhale drifted through the door. "As you wish, brother." For a heartbeat, I thought the danger had passed. Then the voice added, "But the pack will hear of this." Wind howled outside. Leaves rustled violently. Footsteps, heavy, padded, moved across the porch. Then nothing. Silence. Ronan sagged forward, one hand braced against the door, shoulders trembling with the effort it took to not shift, to not tear the cabin apart, to not storm after whoever that was. I stepped closer. "Ronan." He didn't turn, didn't breathe, didn't move. "Ronan," I whispered again. Slowly, too slowly, he straightened. When he finally faced me, my breath caught. His eyes weren't just golden, they were ablaze. "Lena," he said, voice deep and vibrating with suppressed fury. "You need to stay away from the windows." "Why? Who is that?" "My brother," he said bitterly. "Is he going to come back?" Ronan's throat flexed. "Yes, and next time, he won't knock." His hands curled into fists, claws still half-formed. "The pack will come," he continued. "They'll smell the bond. They'll smell you." His voice sharpened, guttural. "And they'll know I broke every rule we live by." I swallowed. What happens if they know? His gaze met mine, and the answer was there before he spoke it. "They'll kill me." A hollow pause. "And they'll kill you." The room spun. My knees weakened. But before fear could root itself too deeply, Ronan stepped toward me, slowly, carefully, as if approaching something fragile. He cupped the side of my face with a trembling hand. "I won't let them touch you," he murmured. "Not while I can still stand. Not while I can still breathe. You shouldn't have to fight them alone." His thumb brushed my cheekbone, tender, aching, reverent. "I would fight the whole world for you." Emotion twisted through me. Fear, longing, disbelief. Something deep and dangerous and magnetic. "You barely know me," I whispered. His expression changed, softened, darkened. "My wolf does," he said. "He knew the moment he saw you. He knew before I did, and now." His forehead lowered to mine. "I can't unknow it." I closed my eyes, breath shaking. "Ronan." His voice dropped to a whisper that felt like moonlight sliding over skin. "They're coming, Lena." My eyes flew open. "We have until dawn," he said. "Maybe less." "What do we do?" Ronan stepped back, gaze burning with deadly resolve. "We prepare." "What does that mean?" His answer came like a promise, and a threat. "It means," he said, "that tonight I teach you how to survive my world." Chapter 6, Lessons in the Dark. Ronan didn't turn on any more lights. He moved through the dim cabin like he was born in shadow, every step quiet despite the tension vibrating off him. I followed, heart pounding, skin prickling with the lingering echo of his brother's threat. "Close the curtains," he said. I obeyed. The heavy fabric swallowed the moonlight, plunging the cabin into a protective darkness. "Why hide the light?" I asked. "Because anything that can see us," he said, "can scent us." A shiver crawled up my spine. He turned to me, breath still uneven, eyes starting to dim from molten gold to a burnished bronze. He was regaining control. Barely. "Sit," he said. I lowered myself into the chair opposite him, the flickering lantern throwing amber shadows across his face. He looked tired, too tired, but beneath the exhaustion lay steel, a lethal resolve. "We don't have much time," he said, "so I'll be direct. Please, I'd prefer the truth over cryptic threats." He huffed a soft, broken laugh. "I'm trying." He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. The firelight carved every line of tension in his shoulders. "Lena." The moment the bond snapped into place, every wolf for miles felt it. "But how?" He tapped his chest. "It's instinct, magic, blood. We don't fully understand it, only that it's ancient, elemental." His eyes lifted to mine. "And uncontrollable. So they know I'm your—" I swallowed hard. "Mate?" His jaw tightened. "They don't know who you are?" "Not yet. But they know I felt the bond. That's enough to put a target on my back." "And me?" His gaze softened with something that made my stomach twist. "You?" His voice dropped. "You're in more danger than anyone." A beat passed, thick, vulnerable. "Because I'll fight for you," he whispered, "and they'll try to use you to break me." A knot pulled tight inside me. I wasn't used to people fighting for me. I wasn't used to being wanted at all. Much less like this. Fiercely, instinctively, irrevocably. "How do I survive your world?" I asked. He stood. "I'll show you." He led me to a narrow hallway where a wooden chest sat beneath a row of hooks. Without explanation, he kicked it open. Inside were weapons, knives, silver-tipped arrows, vials of dark liquid, small pouches of herbs. My breath caught. "You're a prepper?" I tried to joke. "A realist," he said. "The world doesn't care about hope. It only cares what you can defend." He stooped and pulled out a small carved item, a charm on a thin leather cord etched with runes. "Wear this." He draped it around my neck, fingers brushing the hollow of my throat. Heat shot through me. His touch. The bond. Both. "It'll mask your scent," he murmured. "Temporarily." "From your pack?" "For anyone who comes hunting," he said grimly. "Hunting? Me?" "And me," Ronan added. I blinked. "Your brother said you were cursed." He froze. Not a stillness of fear, a stillness of pain. "Yes," he said softly, "and because of it, the pack sees me as a threat, a weakness, or a weapon to control." His eyes met mine. "A mate makes all of that worse." "Because they think I make you weaker?" His expression sharpened. "You make me dangerous." He stepped closer. Too close. Close enough to feel the heat radiating off him, close enough to smell pine and smoke, close enough to see the flecks of gold still swirling in his eyes. "You make the wolf restless," he admitted. "You make him fight the curse harder, and fight everything else too." "Is that bad?" He exhaled, a trembling breath. "It's going to get someone killed." I swallowed. "Will it be me?" His hand rose, slowly, reverently, and cupped my cheek. "No," he said fiercely. "Never you." The air between us thickened. Slow burn tension wasn't the right word. It was wildfire contained by a thread. He dropped his hand suddenly, stepping back as though burned. "Training," he said roughly. "Right now." Ronan took me outside the back door where the cabin opened onto a small clearing surrounded by trees. Mist curled over the ground, the moon barely visible through the branches. "First rule," he said, voice all Alpha Command now. "You listen to me. Always." I nodded. "Second rule, if I say run, you run. Don't argue. Don't look back. Even if you're— especially if I'm fighting," he said. His jaw flexed. "I won't always be able to protect you up close." "And the third rule?" He held my gaze, something storm-like behind his eyes. "You never approach me if I'm shifting, not unless I call your name." "What if you're hurt?" His expression hardened. "Especially then." "Why?" "Because the wolf doesn't think like a man." His voice quieted. "And he wants you too much." Heat flared under my skin. fear, longing, uncertainty, all tangled together. "Show me what you can do," he said. "What I can do?" He nodded toward a line of trees. "Throw something." "What am I, a baseball player?" "Lena," he said, sighing like the universe had personally assigned me to torment him. "Just throw something." I grabbed a stick and threw it with absolutely zero coordination. It landed 2 feet away. Ronan stared at the stick, then at me, then back at the stick. "Okay," he said carefully. "So, we'll focus on running." I burst out laughing despite everything. "Wow. Confidence inspiring." He rubbed a hand over his face. "You humans are so fragile, it's infuriating. And yet you're stuck with me." His head snapped toward me, something raw flickering across his expression. "Yes," he said quietly. "I am." Silence fell, charged, electric. He stepped closer again. "You're brave," he murmured. "Too brave. Or too foolish. I haven't figured out which." "Brave," I said, lifting my chin. He moved closer still, until his breath ghosted over my lips. "It might get you killed." "And?" I whispered. "And..." His voice cracked, barely restrained. "I don't want to lose you." My heartbeat stumbled, his eyes softened, only a fraction, but enough to fracture something in my chest. "Ronan." A branch snapped in the trees. Ronan's head jerked up. His posture shifted. Shoulders forward, muscles locking, eyes blazing gold again. "They're here." My blood ran cold. "Already?" "Earlier than expected." His hand wrapped around mine. "Inside. Now." "But who—" He pushed me toward the cabin door. "Someone sent a scout," he said. "Or someone who doesn't want to wait for dawn." He paused. Every line of his body screamed tension. His voice dropped to a whisper. "Lena?" "Yes?" "If something happens to me—" "Don't," I breathed. "Don't say it." He leaned in, forehead almost touching mine. "You run." "I won't leave you." "You will," he growled, fierce and broken. "Because I need you to live." Something moved in the dark forest. Closer. Heavier. Ronan shoved me inside the cabin just as a figure stepped out of the trees. Not his brother. Not fully wolf. Something in between. A scout. A challenger. A killer. Ronan placed himself between me and the open clearing. His voice dropped into a deadly quiet register. "Stay behind me. No matter what happens." I grabbed his hand before he could shift forward. "Ronan." He squeezed back. Just once, tight and trembling. A promise. Then he let go and stepped toward the threat. Chapter 7. Blood Oaths and Broken Rules. The figure stepping out of the tree line was wrong. Not just monstrous, wrong. A twisted silhouette balanced between forms, its spine curved and shifting under too tight skin, claws scraping the earth as if relearning how to walk. Its eyes were feral, glowing with the savage gleam of a wolf that had lost itself to instinct. Not Ronan's brother. Not a pack member sent to talk. This one was here to hunt. Ronan inhaled sharply, the sound vibrating with a low rumble. His shoulders widened, his muscles tightening beneath the torn fabric of his shirt. "Back," he warned again, voice deeper, edged with something inhuman. I stayed rooted just inside the doorframe. I should have retreated farther. I should have obeyed. But leaving his side now felt like abandoning oxygen. The creature snarled, teeth snapping with a wet click. Ronan's reaction was instantaneous. A savage growl ripped from his chest. Louder, more primal than I'd ever heard. He stepped forward, placing himself fully between me and the threat. His next words weren't English. They were wolf. A harsh series of guttural sounds and snarling syllables that vibrated through the night. The creature flinched, responding in the same language, its voice rasping, broken, desperate. I realized with a jolt, They were communicating. And whatever the creature said, Ronan didn't like it. His claws extended, not halfway, but fully this time. Long, curved, glinting with moonlight. He moved like a shadow that had learned to kill. The creature lunged. Ronan met it mid-air. The collision shook the ground. The clearing exploded into movement, blood and fur and claws. Ronan moved with terrifying precision, striking where it hurt most, dodging with instincts older than the mountains. But the creature was fast and desperate. It slashed at him, teeth grazing his shoulder. Ronan snarled, grabbing the creature's jaw and twisting violently. A sickening crack split the air. The creature collapsed with a strangled whine. Ronan didn't let it rise, he pinning it to the ground with a force that made the earth tremble, claws digging into its chest. He growled words low and harsh, an alpha's interrogation. The creature choked out a single rattling phrase. Ronan froze. His entire body went still. Too still. What? I whispered despite myself. He didn't turn, didn't answer. The creature writhed, coughing up dark blood, and Ronan released it. Not out of mercy, out of shock. The creature staggered to its feet and limped into the trees, barely alive. Ronan, I cried. You let it go. He didn't move. His voice, when it came, was hollow. I had to. My skin prickled. Why? What did it say? He turned slowly, and the look on his face, raw, furious, heartbroken, made my breath stop. It said the pack isn't coming at dawn, he said. They're coming now. A beat. And they're not coming to question me. Cold crept down my spine. Then what? They're coming to claim you. I stumbled backward, the weight of the words crushing the air out of me. Why would they? Because a cursed wolf claiming a human mate is forbidden. Illegal. Damning. His voice broke. They want to separate us before the bond finishes rooting. Ronan. They want to break the connection, he growled, by killing one of us. Silence hit like a blow. Who? I whispered. Who do they kill? His answer was immediate, automatic. Me. My heart plummeted. Ronan. He strode toward me, one step, then another, until he was directly in front of me, hands gripping my shoulders with a trembling intensity. Listen to me, he said, voice thick with desperation. If they take you, they'll use you as leverage. They'll torture you. They'll force me to bend. I won't let them. You won't get a choice. His breath shook. His claws were gone now, hands inching closer to human as he fought for control. Lena, he whispered, I need you to run. No. Yes. I lifted my chin. I'm not leaving you. Not tonight. You don't understand what's at stake? I do, I said, voice trembling but steady. Maybe better than you, he faltered. Look at me, I whispered. He did, and the raw emotion in his eyes nearly undid me. Gold swirling with fear, longing, fury, and something deeper. Something like love, even if neither of us dared name it. I know what happens when you lose control, I said. I saw it tonight. I know you're cursed. I know the bond terrifies you. His throat worked. But I'm not running, I finished. Because I trust you. He shook his head, voice cracked. Don't trust a monster. You're not a monster. You don't know what I've done. Then tell me, I challenged, placing both hands on his chest, feeling the violent heartbeat under my palms. Tell me the truth, all of it. His breath caught. Thunder rolled in the distance. Real thunder this time, not made of footsteps or claws. The pack was getting closer. You don't have time for the whole truth, he said softly, but you need the part that matters most. I swallowed. Which is? Ronan exhaled a trembling breath, one that sounded like surrender. The curse didn't come from a rival pack, he said, or a hunter, or a spell. Then from what? His voice dropped to a whisper. From me. The air vanished. What do you mean? From you. His gaze darkened, haunted. I was born with it, he said. Born wrong, born dangerous. A wolf that can't leash his power. A wolf whose shift destroys everything around him. I stepped closer. And the bond, he continued, voice cracking, makes the curse stronger. My control weaker, my wolf more desperate. He swallowed hard. Being near you could kill you. I shook my head fiercely. Ronan. He stepped closer too close, until his forehead nearly pressed against mine. And I still want you near me, he whispered. The words hit like lightning. Raw, honest, terrifying. His hands lifted, brushing my waist, hesitant and reverent. I can't let them hurt you, he murmured against my lips. Then don't. His breath stuttered. Lena, he whispered, voice shaking. I am losing the fight inside myself. You stay, and you see the worst of me. You leave. He swallowed. And you might survive. I stay, I breathed. He closed his eyes, pained. You are going to destroy me. The forest erupted with howls. The pack had arrived. Ronan's eyes snapped open, full golden blaze. He grabbed my hand. We're out of time. The door shook. Branches snapped. Footsteps circled the cabin. Ronan pulled me behind him, claws sliding free. His voice dropped into a vow that sent heat and fear tangling through me. You want the truth, Lena? He growled. Tonight, you'll see exactly what I am. The door burst inward, and the pack came for us. Chapter 8. The Moon Chooses Violence. The door didn't just break. It exploded. Wood shattered inward, spraying splinters across the cabin floor, as three massive forms surged through the threshold. Wolves, but not wolves. Men, but not men. Their bodies bulged with shifting muscle, teeth lengthening into curved ivory blades, eyes glowing like wildfire in a graveyard. Ronan shoved me behind him so fast the breath left my lungs. Stay. Down. A single command, fierce and frantic. The pack fanned out, circling us with slow, predatory precision. They weren't here to threaten. They were here to claim. Ronan stepped forward, and the world moved with him. His claws extended in a fluid, terrifying sweep. His spine arched, his chest expanded, muscles rippling under skin that shimmered between man and wolf. His teeth sharpened into something lethal, but not yet wild. Half shift. Controlled. Barely. Leave her. Ronan's voice was a growl wrapped in a man's shape. This is your only warning. One of the pack snarled and advanced, its massive paw landing on the broken doorframe. The smallest of the three, a lean, dark-furred wolf with jagged scars down its muzzle, let out a series of clicks and growls. A challenge. Ronan answered with a bellowing roar that made the cabin walls shake. I'd heard Ronan growl before. But this was alpha. Every hair on my body stood on end. The scarred wolf lunged. Ronan met it head-on. They collided like two storms slamming into each other, fur and claws, blood and bone. Ronan threw the creature into a wall so violently that the shelves split, and books scattered like dead leaves. The second wolf attacked from the side. Ronan spun, faster than should be possible for someone so massive, catching it mid-leap. His claws sank into its flank as he slammed it to the floor. The third wolf, the largest, didn't move. It watched me. Eyes the color of dying embers. It took one heavy step forward. Ronan, I whispered, frozen. He jerked his head toward me for a split second. Too long. The largest wolf lunged. Ronan didn't think. He reacted. He threw himself between us, taking the full force of the attack. The two bodies crashed into the table, splintering it apart. Ronan hit the ground hard enough to rattle the floorboards. He didn't rise fast enough. The largest wolf pinned him, jaws snapping inches from Ronan's throat. No! I choked out, stumbling forward. Another wolf shifted its attention toward me with terrifying speed. It saw me as the weak link, the target, the leverage. It lunged. I grabbed the nearest object, one of Ronan's fallen weapons, a small silvered knife, and raised it without thinking. The wolf barreled at me and collided with an invisible wall. A crack of energy sent it flying back 3 feet, yelping in shock. I blinked. "What?" Ronan roared, a sound of both triumph and warning. "The charm!" he shouted. "Around your neck!" I touched the rune carved into the pendant he'd given me, now warm, glowing faintly. A ward, a protection spell, a barrier between me and the jaws of monsters. The wolf got up, furious now, and lunged again. Slam! The barrier hurled it back even harder. It whimpered and shook itself, pacing, confused. Ronan saw the opening. He shoved the alpha wolf off him with a violent burst of strength, claws ripping fur and flesh. Blood sprayed across the cabin floor. He rose to his full height, half-shifted, monstrous, magnificent. "Touch her again," Ronan snarled, "and I'll gut every one of you." For a moment, just a moment, the pack hesitated. Then the leader, the largest, oldest wolf, shifted. Slowly, deliberately. Fur receded, bones cracked, muscles twisted until a man stood in its place, a tall, broad warrior with a scar carved across one eye. Ronan stiffened. "Alpha Kyle," he growled, voice dangerously low. Kyle looked at me with eyes still glowing faintly red. "So, this is the human." Ronan moved in front of me again, blocking Kale's view. "You look at her again," Ronan said, "and I break your jaw." Kyle laughed, still arrogant, even cursed, even dying. "Try me." Ronan's claws curled, ready to shred. Kale continued as if discussing the weather. "Your curse is worsening, brother." "Don't call me that. You brought a mate into pack territory, knowing what you are." Kale's voice darkened. "Knowing what you become." Ronan snarled, low and seismic. "She's mine," he said. "The moon chose, not me." "The moon chooses," Kale said softly, "but the pack decides." Ronan tensed. "Decides what? Whether the bond lives?" Kale's gaze flicked toward me. "Or dies." Ronan lunged. Kale caught him by the throat, with one hand. Ronan choked, claws raking Kale's arm. Blood spilled. Kale didn't flinch. "You're weaker," Kale murmured. "The curse eats your strength, your control, your mind." Ronan snarled, unable to break free. "And this human?" Kale's eyes slid to me, darkening with something ancient. "She accelerates it," Ronan roared, a sound of pure, agonizing rage. I stepped forward. "Let him go." My voice broke through the din, cracking with fear and fury. The charm flared. Kyle jerked as if struck by lightning. His hand released Ronan instantly. Ronan collapsed to one knee, coughing. The pack froze. Kyle stared at me, stunned. Then, slowly, his lips curved. "Interesting." Ronan surged upright and shoved me behind him so hard I stumbled. "Don't touch her," he growled, breath ragged. Kale sighed. "Ronan, you can't keep her. The curse will consume you, and if it does, she dies with you. That is the law." "I don't care about the law." "You should." Kyle's voice dropped to a warning whisper. "Because if you don't break the bond, we will." Ronan's body vibrated with fury. Kyle turned to his pack. "We leave, for now." The wolves retreated through the broken door, shadows slipping back into the forest. Kyle lingered last. As he stepped into the night, he looked back once more. "You have until the next full moon," he said. "Choose, her life, or your own." Then he vanished. The forest went silent. Ronan staggered. I rushed to him. He collapsed into my arms. "Ronan." He was burning, shaking, breath shallow. His eyes glowed gold, too bright, too wild, too close to losing control entirely. "Lena," he rasped. "You." Shouldn't have spoken. The charm reacted, bonded us deeper. What does that mean? He gripped my wrist, claws grazing my skin. It means, he whispered, the bond is completing. His breath hit my neck. His pulse thrummed under my hands. His body trembled against mine. And now, he said, voice breaking, there's no going back. Chapter 9. The Heart of the Bond. Ronan's weight sagged against me, heavy and burning, like holding a wildfire inside human skin. His breath came ragged, each inhale a tremor, each exhale a suppressed growl. I wrapped my arms around him instinctively, trying to steady him even though I wasn't steady myself. Ronan, stay with me, I whispered. A harsh laugh tore from him, broken, agonized. Trying. I guided him toward the chair by the fireplace, but he shook his head violently. No, not there. His voice was strained, fighting to stay human. The shift takes me faster if I'm cornered. Then, your room? No. His fingers tightened around my wrist. Just floor. Open space. I lowered him gently to the thick rug in the center of the cabin. Even through layers of fever and pain, he still angled his body between me and the broken doorway, like instinct demanded he protect me at all costs. The moonlight slipped through the cracks in the shattered door, bathing him in a cold glow. His body tensed. The curse was moving through him again. He clenched his teeth, breath hissing. Lena, you need to listen. I'm right here. That's the problem, he rasped. You're too close. His eyes snapped open. They were fully gold. No brown, no human. My heartbeat stumbled. Ronan, you need distance, he said, voice barely more than a growl. The bond is pulling at me. Hard. Too hard. I'm not leaving you. His hand shot out faster than thought, gripping my waist with claws just barely unsheathed. Not enough to cut. Enough to warn. Lena. His voice cracked, raw and guttural. Please. My breath trembled. He rarely said please. I eased back a little, just an arm's length. Something in his posture eased in response, though the tremors didn't stop. His muscles rippled beneath his skin, fighting, resisting. Talk to me, I said. What's happening now? He lowered his head, sweat beading along his brow. The bond reacts to threat, to fear, to bloodshed. He swallowed hard. And to proximity. What does that mean for you? It means everything is louder, stronger. His breath hitched. You're stronger. I'm not doing anything. Yes, he whispered, voice shaking. You are. Your heartbeat, your scent, your fear, your everything. It calls to me. My body heated at the intensity in his voice. The pull I'd been trying to ignore rippled through the air between us like a live wire. What do you need me to do? I asked softly. His eyes lifted, and the look in them nearly took my breath. I need you to stay, he whispered, but not too close, and not too far. That's not very clear. Because nothing about this is, he said, a pained smile twisting his lips. His body tensed again. A violent shudder tore through him. He planted his hands on the floor to keep from collapsing fully, claws carving grooves into the wood. The veins in his arms darkened, pulsing like ink under skin. Ronan, don't touch me, he choked out. Not yet. I froze, hands halfway to reaching him. Why? I whispered. Because if you do. His voice turned rough. Dangerous. The wolf will take over. And what happens if the wolf takes over? He closed his eyes. He'll claim you. Something warm and electric shot through me, fear and longing twisted into one. He must have sensed it, because he growled softly. Don't react like that. I swallowed. Like what? Like you want that. I didn't trust my voice enough to answer. Ronan inhaled sharply, the sound turning into a strangled groan. The curse is feeding off the bond, making the shift more violent, harder to control. I watched his muscles flex, watched his jaw clench. I could feel the war inside him, the beast pushing, forcing, desperate to break through. But Ronan fought with everything he had. He had fought for me all night. He was still fighting. "Tell me how to help," I whispered. His breath hitched. "Talk to me." "That's all?" "It keeps me anchored." He swallowed hard. "Keeps the wolf from taking full control." I moved closer, slowly, until I was within reach but not touching. I met his golden gaze. "I'm here," I said. "I'm with you." His breathing steadied just slightly. "Say my name," he murmured. "Ronan." His eyes softened, just for a moment, before another wave of the curse ripped through him and he let out a ragged snarl. Again. "Ronan." He leaned toward my voice like it tethered him. "Lena." "Yes?" "If I lose myself." He struggled to breathe. "You run." "No." "Yes." "I told you I'm not leaving." His voice fractured. "Then I'll chain myself before I let the wolf hurt you." "You won't hurt me." "You don't know that," he roared, slamming a clawed hand into the floor, splintering the wood. I flinched, but didn't move away. His voice dropped to a strangled whisper. "Please, Lena." My chest tightened. Not from fear, from the heartbreak tangled inside his voice. "I trust you," I said. His eyes closed again, pained. "Stop saying that." "Why?" "Because it makes the wolf want to earn it." His fingers dug into the floor. "Makes him want to protect you, hold you, mark you." He shuddered violently. "Claim you." Heat rushed to my cheeks. "Ronan," I breathed. "Don't," he whispered, voice desperate. "Not like that." Silence swelled between us, hot, thick, electric. The bond thrummed like a heartbeat I could feel in my bones. Another tremor racked his body, but he fought it back with a roar that shook the cabin walls. Sweat dripped down his temple. His muscles quivered with exhaustion. His claws dug into the floor until blood beaded around the tips. I couldn't watch him suffer anymore. I reached out, slow, gentle, certain, and placed my hand over his. He inhaled sharply. "Lena." "No." "You said talking helps," I murmured, "but I think this helps more." His head dropped, forehead nearly touching the ground. My touch steadied him. That terrified him. "You don't understand," he rasped. "This means the bond is nearly complete." "What does that mean for us?" His fingers curled around mine, claws retracting slowly, as he lifted his gaze to meet mine. "It means," he whispered, "that if one of us dies, the other follows." My breath caught. "But it also means," he added softly, painfully, "that the wolf won't let anything touch you. Ever." He squeezed my hand. "It means you're mine, and I'm yours." My heart thundered. The fever in his eyes eased, just slightly, but enough to return some humanity to the gold. "Ronan," I whispered. He leaned toward me, trembling. "Say it," he breathed. "Say my name again." "Ronan." He exhaled a shaking breath, like the sound tethered him back to himself. Then he whispered, voice barely audible, "Lena." "I." A howl shattered the moment. Deep, commanding, close. Ronan's blood ran cold. His head snapped toward the door. "No," he whispered. "Not now." "Who is it?" I whispered. His answer was ice. "Kale." Footsteps crunched outside, more than one. Many. Ronan surged to his feet with a roar, positioning himself between me and the door. "Lena," he said, voice dropping into a deadly whisper. "We're not alone anymore." The pack had returned, but not to threaten, to punish. And this time, they weren't coming for Ronan. They were coming for me. Chapter 10. Moonblood and firelight. The world went quiet. Too quiet. The kind of stillness that comes before a killing blow. Ronan's body shifted in front of me, broad shoulders widening, muscles locking, claws sliding slowly, deliberately from his fingers. Not the frantic half-shift of earlier. This was controlled, prepared, terrifying. The moonlight leaking through the shattered doorframe glinted on his dark hair, highlighting the trembling tension in every inch of him. "Lena," he murmured without turning. "Get behind the hearth." "I'm not leaving your—" He growled, not angry, but desperate. "Please, just this once." The word hit harder than a command. I obeyed, slipping behind the large stone hearth just as footsteps crunched the earth outside. More than footsteps. Paws. Heavy. Multiple. Branches cracked. Leaves rustled. Approaching bodies closed in from all sides. Ronan inhaled sharply, shoulders lifting with the breath, spine straightening. "Cale isn't alone," he whispered. "He brought the elders." My stomach dropped. "Why? Why so many?" "Because of you." "Me?" "The bond," he murmured through clenched teeth. "They can smell it now. It's too strong to hide." A low howl echoed through the clearing, deep, ancient, commanding. Ronan stiffened. "He's calling me out." "Then don't go." "I have to." His voice softened. "If I don't answer, they'll drag you out themselves." Fear clawed at me. "You can't fight all of them." "No," he whispered, "but I can stall them." He turned his head slightly, just enough for his profile to appear in the torchlight from outside. And then he said something that twisted my heart into a fist. "If I die out there, the bond will rip you apart from the inside. You won't survive it." I froze. "Ronan, that's why you need to stay here. Hide. Don't come out unless I call your name." My throat tightened. "You won't die. I won't let you." He huffed a weak, painful laugh. "Lena, if I lose control, there will be nothing left to stop them. Or me. Then I'll remind you who you are." He finally turned toward me, just for a second, and the look in his eyes nearly split me open. "You already do." Another howl split the air. Ronan growled back, deep and resonant, vibrating through the cabin walls. Then the doorframe darkened as a massive shadow stepped inside. Cale. Fully shifted. A towering, black-furred beast with ember-red eyes and ancient strength coiling through every movement. His claws scraped the floor as he advanced. Behind him, 6 more wolves formed a semicircle around the cabin's threshold. Ronan stepped forward. Half man, half wolf, fully terrifying. The tension between them crackled like lightning. Cale's growl echoed through the cabin. Ronan answered with a snarl that shook dust from the rafters. Then, Cale shifted. Bones cracked, fur retracted, and in seconds a man, bare, scarred, powerful, stood before Ronan, a true alpha. His presence alone suffocated the air. "You knew we would return," Cale said calmly. "I knew you'd be foolish enough," Ronan shot back. Cale's jaw flexed. "You are cursed, brother. That alone warrants an intervention. But you've given us something far worse." His gaze slid past Ronan. "A human mate." Ronan blocked his line of sight instantly, claws gleaming. "You're not going near her." Cale sighed. "You know the law. A cursed wolf cannot claim a mate. If the bond completes, she dies for sure. And when you lose control, you take her with you." "I won't lose control," Ronan growled. Cale stared at him, almost pitying. "You already are." Ronan's body trembled. Not from fear. From rage, from holding the wolf back, from the curse writhing under his skin like poison. Kyle stepped closer. "You have one choice," he said softly. "Break the bond now. Kill the human." A pause. "Or we do it for you." Ronan lunged. The room exploded. Ronan tackled Cale, slamming him into the far wall. Shelves collapsed. Books fell like dead leaves. The wolves outside barked and snarled, surging forward. Cale rippled into his wolf form mid-air, claws raking Ronan's ribs. Blood sprayed the cabin floor. "Ronan!" I screamed. He didn't hear me, or did, and that pulled him deeper into the fight. The pack entered in a blur of fur and fangs. Ronan fought like something born for war, like a storm that learned how to bleed. Each strike was savage, controlled, desperate. He took down one wolf, then another. But there were too many. They circled, snapping, driving him back. Kale lunged at Ronan's throat. I didn't think. I moved. Before reason could catch me, before fear could stop me, I burst from behind the hearth. "Stop!" The command tore from my lungs on instinct, and the world froze. Every wolf jerked their head toward me at once. Kyle's eyes widened. Ronan's body went still with horror. "Lena, no!" Kale shifted back to human form in one fluid motion, eyes fixed on me as if I had just committed blasphemy. "You stand before an alpha," he said, voice low and dangerous. "And you command his pack?" Ronan tried to rise. "Don't you touch her!" Kyle lifted a hand, and every other wolf stilled instantly. He took one step toward me. Ronan snarled, a sound of pure devastation. "Kale!" Kale ignored him. He studied me with unsettling curiosity. "Human females do not command wolves." "I didn't command anyone," I said, shaking. "You did." Kale's eyes narrowed. "The bond is stronger than I expected. Almost rooted." Ronan struggled to stand, blood streaking down his side. "Stay. Away. From her." Kyle sighed. "It is too late, brother. The bond is sealing. If she dies, you die. If you die, she dies. You have cursed each other." "So we live," I said, breath shaking. Kale's gaze sharpened. "Not if the curse overtakes him first." He glanced at Ronan. Ronan's half-shift rippled dangerously. His claws trembled. His eyes glowed wild, frantic, losing the battle. Kyle looked back at me. "Only one thing can save him now," he said quietly. I swallowed. "What?" "Your acceptance." I blinked. "My... what?" "The bond is fighting to complete itself," he said. "If you accept him, truly accept him, you anchor his wolf. You quiet the curse. And if I don't?" Kyle glanced at Ronan, who was seconds from losing control completely. "He dies tonight." Ronan shook his head violently. "Lena, don't listen. The bond, it wants. Kyle spoke over him. "Choose human." He stepped aside. "Save him, or lose him." The cabin pulsed with Ronan's ragged breaths. His claws gouged the floor as he fought the wolf, fought the curse, fought the instinct to tear the world apart to reach me. "Lena," he whispered, voice shredded. "Run, please, run." I stepped toward him. Ronan's eyes widened, fear, longing, pain. "Don't!" His voice cracked. "If you come closer, I won't stop the wolf. I can't." "I know." One step, then another. His breath hitched. "Lena, don't do this. I'm losing." "You're not losing," I whispered. "You're fighting." He shook, muscles spasming. "And I'm fighting with you." I reached him, close enough to feel his heat, his tremors, his breath on my lips. "Lena," he begged, broken. I cupped his face in both hands and spoke the words that changed everything. "I accept you." Ronan inhaled sharply, violently, like the universe punched air back into his lungs. His eyes flared gold, then softened. His claws retracted. His body stilled. The curse's tremors faded under my touch. The wolf inside him exhaled and bowed. Ronan sagged forward, forehead pressing to mine, breath shaking, chest heaving with relief so raw it brought tears to my eyes. "Lena," he whispered. "My mate." Kale inhaled sharply behind us. The pack lowered their heads. Every wolf in the room recognized it. The bond was complete. And unstoppable. Chapter 11. The Last Trial. Ronan didn't collapse. He fell into me. Not in weakness, but in surrender. His arms wrapped around my waist with a gentleness that contrasted violently with the half-shifted claws still receding into his skin. His forehead pressed to mine, breath shuddering through him like the aftermath of a storm that had almost torn him apart. The room was silent. The wolves, Kale included, watched with a reverence edged in fear. Ronan was no longer cursed prey, no longer a threat to be contained. He was something the pack hadn't seen in decades. A bonded alpha. My bonded alpha. The air was thick with it. Magic. Recognition. A rule older than wolf law itself. Kale exhaled slowly. It is done. Ronan's fingers curled tighter at my back, as if afraid I would disappear if he let go. I lifted a hand and cupped the side of his face. His eyes, still gold, but softer now, closed at my touch. Ronan, I whispered. I'm here. I know. He breathed. I feel you everywhere. Kale cleared his throat. You've stabilized the curse. For now. Ronan's posture shifted. Slowly. Reluctantly. He turned toward Kale with a snarl still clinging to the edges of his expression. What now? Kale stepped forward. Cautious, but no longer hostile. Now comes the final trial. Ronan stiffened. This is between me and the curse, not the pack. No, Kale said quietly. This is between you and the moon. A hush rippled through the wolves. Ronan swore under his breath. A moon trial? Now? You're out of your mind. It's the only way, Kyle said. The only way to break the curse for good. My heart climbed into my throat. Break it? You mean he can be free? Kyle nodded. If he survives? Ronan growled. I'm not doing a trial. Not with the bond this new. Not with her near. You don't have a choice, Kyle murmured. The bond made you stronger, but it also made you dangerous. If the moon doesn't accept your mate, the curse will return twice as fierce and you will lose everything. Ronan's grip on me tightened. Kale continued, voice almost soft. The moon trial chooses if your bond is worthy. And if it decides it isn't? I asked. Kale didn't answer. Ronan did. It kills me, he said flatly, and takes the bond with me. Ice shot through my veins. Ronan touched my cheek gently, drawing my gaze from Kale's. Lena, sweetheart, we can walk away from this. Right now. He meant it. The pack held its breath. But I saw the truth in Ronan's eyes. The exhaustion, the suffering, the years of fighting a curse he never asked for. And the fear that I'd get caught in its jaws. I slid my hand into his. We do the trial, I said. Ronan stared at me like I'd just stepped into fire. Lena, no. Yes. You could die. So could you. He swallowed hard. That doesn't scare you? Losing you does. His breath broke. Before he could argue, Kale spoke. Midnight approaches. The moon is nearly full. The trial must begin now. Ronan drew in a trembling breath. Then he nodded once. Sharp. Resigned. Fine. But she stays behind me. At all times. Kale inclined his head. As it should be. The pack guided us into the clearing behind the cabin, a wide circle of ancient pine trunks, their dark silhouettes rising like guardians around the ritual grounds. The moon hung above, enormous and luminous, the mist glowing silver beneath it. Ronan's hand remained wrapped around mine, not protective, but anchored. His body was tense, his breath slow and forced. His eyes fixed on the moon like it was an executioner he refused to bow to. Kale stepped into the center of the clearing and raised his voice. Call the moon, call the bloodline, call the bond. The wolves around him bowed their heads. The energy in the air thickened with ancient resonance. Ronan muttered under his breath, I hate this. I'm here, I whispered. He glanced down at me. That's what scares me. Ronan. He swallowed hard, brushing his knuckles over mine. Promise me one thing. Anything. If I lose control during the trial, you run. I shook my head. No. His jaw clenched. "Lena, I won't leave you," I whispered. "Not again, not ever." Emotion flashed across his face. Then the moon answered. A beam of pale light pierced the clearing, dropping onto Ronan's body like a divine spotlight. He staggered, claws extending involuntarily, breath ripped from his lungs. "Ronan!" I grabbed him. Kale shouted, "Do not touch him!" Ronan forced a growl. "Don't listen!" But Kale was right. The moment my hand touched him, the moonlight flared, blinding, violent, and Ronan screamed as the bond pulled taut between us like a chain on fire. I jerked my hand back, heart shattering. I'm sorry. Ronan dropped to one knee, panting, fighting, clawing the earth. "This is the trial," Kyle said. "He must face the moon as wolf and man, cursed and claimed, alone." "He's not alone." Kale's gaze softened. "He knows that. And that's why he might survive." Ronan gasped, head thrown back as his spine contorted painfully. Light split across his skin, running along veins, bones, scars. The beast inside him pushed against the boundaries of his body, desperate to break free. But Ronan forced himself upright, snarling at the sky. "I choose her," he roared. "I choose Lena. Do you hear me? I choose her." The moon's light hammered into him, his body convulsed. The curse screamed through his blood. But Ronan, bleeding, shaking, breaking, kept his gaze locked on me. "Lena," he gasped, voice strangled. "Say my name." "Ronan! Again! Ronan!" His claws retracted, his breathing steadied. The curse writhed, then recoiled. Kyle whispered, stunned. "The bond. It's helping him." Ronan lifted his head toward the moon, golden eyes blazing. "I choose her," he said again, softer this time but filled with soul-deep certainty. The wind howled. The clearing vibrated. Light surged around Ronan, then shattered like glass. He dropped forward, right into my arms. I caught him, his body heavy and warm, finally still. The wolves bowed their heads. Kale lowered his. "It is done," he murmured. "The curse is broken." Ronan lifted his head, eyes clearing, brown and gold and something softer. "Lena," he whispered. "Yes?" "You saved me." And then, slowly with trembling hands, he pulled me against him and kissed me. Not wild, not desperate, just full. Full of the bond. Full of relief. Full of us. When he pulled back, his forehead rested against mine. "You're mine," he whispered. "And I'm yours." The moon blazed above us, blessing, not judging. I exhaled a breath I'd been holding for days. We survived. Together. Chapter 12. After the storm, dawn broke soft and golden over the clearing, warming the pine needles and melting the last threads of moonlight. The forest felt different now. Lighter, gentler, as though the whole world had exhaled after holding its breath all night. Ronan sat beside me on the moss-soft ground, leaning back against a fallen log. His arm was wrapped around me, fingers tracing slow circles over my shoulder like he still couldn't believe I was here, like he was afraid I'd vanish if he stopped touching me. He was warm, alive, human again, fully human, for the first time since I'd known him. Ronan lifted my hand and pressed his lips to my knuckles. "You didn't leave. You knew I wouldn't." A faint smile tugged at his mouth. "A better man would have asked you to. You're more than a man." His eyes darkened with something soft, something unguarded. "So are you." I leaned into him, letting my cheek rest against his shoulder. He let out a long, quiet breath, a sound of relief, of release, of wonder. For the first time, the air around him wasn't electrified by tension or hunger or danger. It was calm, still wild, still powerful, but peaceful. The curse was gone. He was free. And the bond between us pulsed like a thread woven through our souls, steady, radiant. Behind us, Kale approached slowly. The other wolves kept their distance, watching with a mixture of awe and wariness. Kale stopped a few feet away. Sunlight caught the scar across his eye, turning it silver. "We owe you an apology," he said quietly. Ronan's muscles tensed. "For trying to kill her? Or for trying to kill me?" "For both." Kale's gaze warmed, barely. "The moon has spoken. The curse is gone. The bond is sanctioned." Ronan kept me tucked against his side. "You don't get to decide anything about her." "No," Kyle agreed. "The moon already has." He bowed his head. "Not to Ronan. To me." "Welcome, Lena," he said. "To the pack." I blinked. "I'm not a wolf." "You don't need to be," Kyle replied. "You carry the bond. That is enough." Ronan stiffened, but not in aggression. Something like emotion flickered across his face. Gratitude he'd never admit aloud. Kyle turned to leave, then hesitated. "Brother?" Ronan sighed. "Don't call me that." Kale smirked. "Blood doesn't listen." Ronan huffed, annoyed but not angry. Kale's expression softened. "Your mate is strong. Stronger than you deserve." "Believe me," Ronan muttered. "I know." Kale nodded once, then shifted into his massive wolf form and disappeared into the trees, the rest of the pack following silently behind. Suddenly the forest felt too big, too quiet. 2 hours. Ronan turned to me slowly. "Well," he murmured, "that went better than expected." I laughed softly. "Better? You almost died. Several times." He brushed a thumb across my cheek. "But I didn't." "Because of the trial?" His gaze deepened. "Because of you." Warmth bloomed behind my ribs. Ronan rose to his feet, pulling me up with him. The morning breeze tugged at his hair, revealing the calm steadiness in his eyes. "What now?" I asked. "You tell me," he said, stepping closer, his hands sliding around my waist. "We can stay in the cabin. Go somewhere safer. Tell your sister you survived a storm." I smiled up at him. "You saved me, over and over." His forehead lowered to mine. "And you," he whispered, "saved me once. And I think you'll keep saving me for the rest of my life." His lips brushed mine, slow, tender, no longer trembling with desperation or fear. A kiss of beginnings, of choosing, of peace, after a night carved from fire and moonlight. When he pulled back, his smile was small, but real. "We should go home." "Your home or mine?" I teased. His eyes warmed with something possessive and sweet. "Ours." He lifted my hand and pressed it to his chest, over the steady heartbeat there. "Wherever you are," he murmured, "is home." The sun rose higher, painting the clearing gold. The forest sighed, alive and renewed. Ronan intertwined his fingers with mine. Together, we walked toward the broken cabin, toward warmth, toward safety, toward whatever future the moon had carved for a cursed wolf and the human who refused to let him fall. A future that began with a single truth: I saved him once. He's been saving me ever since. And now, we save each other.